Greetings and welcome to minute 132 of the Godfather Minute. My name is Alex Robinson.
My name is Anthony Robinson.
And together we are the Godfather Minute Brothers, here to talk about minute 132.
Alex, e minuto.
A minuto.
Numero.
I was stopping myself from saying numero. I said numero.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, numero.
You got it right. 132.
132.
You got it.
132.
You got it.
All right. Are numbers masculine or feminine?
No.
They're just neutral.
They are neutral, yeah.
Okay.
Like 2 is always due.
Yeah. That's one thing that always confused me trying to learn another language is having a...
Yeah. I think the number 1 may change. Like it's 1 o'clock is el luna.
Uh-huh. Huh.
Well, maybe it is always una. I don't know.
But that's one
I
thing.
haven't gotten that far. I haven't gotten past number 0 yet. Come on.
That's something that that for all the faults English has, at least we don't have gendered gendered furniture and things like that. It's just also.
Hey, before we get into the minute, I'm
Yes.
learning Italian through these CDs because I'm going to Italy in a few weeks.
CDs?
Yeah, you remember what those are?
Mm-hmm.
I listened to them in my car on the way to work and on the way home. And I just finally got to the lesson today where we learn how to say good night.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Buonasera.
Oh.
And I realized if you wanted to say hello or good day to buonasera, you'd say buongiorno buonasera, which means good day, good night.
So I guess, had we not known that?
We talked about it a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
That his name means good night.
I was just saying because that's the perfect name for a funeral. That clearly he was meant to be a funeral director.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
It really is.
Unless he legally changed it to that. I bet we had the exact same conversation that we're having right now. A couple of the last times. So.
And the name of his funeral home should be a Good Night Funeral Home.
Right, home of the elevator. Because remember that was part of his he wanted to do.
Corpse Valet, where's your ticket?
Don't forget the cannoli.
So what happens in this minute, Alex?
Minute 132. The meeting of the 6 families goes on.
Mm-hmm. And on and on and on.
So
blah 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 blah. No vendettas. Blah blah blah. I need assurances.
After Barzini assures the group that they aren't lawyers, Don explains that while he is foregoing avenging Sonny's death, he is foregoing avenging Sonny's death. If something bad happens to Mikey, the Don will blame some of the people in this room. Who will it be?
It's a game show. I have some funny questions about that later.
We need your answer now, please. Who will be held responsible?
If Tom Hagen is playing, he would say, it's Tatalia. Sorry.
Is he also scared? Is he also yelling from the audience?
No, that was just the best way to make it sound like it's Hagen. It's Tatalia.
I thought he was all scared, like it's Tatalia. I'm sorry. The correct answer was Barzini. It was Barzini all along.
All of the answers, all of the correct answers are Barzini. So the judge always has to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Why was Barzini all along?" Only then, of course, the Don wins that game show because he's the only one wise enough to see that.
So during this minute, you're always asking who is the real Alex Robinson.
Yes.
Something occurred to me about myself today.
Okay.
I thought it would be good to reveal on the show.
Who is the real Alex Robinson?
what you got for us?
I learned today about myself that to me, vengeance is important. So I am telling you now, making a pledge that you cannot forego vengeance for me. So if I'm killed, you can't pull as Don Corleone stuff and forego your vengeance. You have to take the vengeance.
You have to take the vengeance. Who, me? You have to.
So I want everyone who's listening to be a witness to that, so that if I'm murdered, everyone, now the pressure's really going to be on, because all 10 of our listeners are going to be hounding you to
yeah, they're going to bully me into it. Wait, let's do that chant again. You have to take the vengeance. Who, me? You have to take the vengeance. I see.
You have to.
I've accepted it. And just one additional chant got me to
You're
accept
very easily swayed. You're very easily swayed.
Who, me? So wait a minute. We got to talk more about that.
Okay.
Wait. Let's break it down.
Shake it, let's break it down.
No more meetings. No more Salazzo tricks.
So, for any reason that you're killed, what if it's an accident?
No, just if it's something suspicious.
Okay, not even proven.
Well, or
if the person convicted, and then I now have the right and permission to.
Well, I'm going with Don Corleone's rules. If anything suspicious happens to me, if I get killed by a policeman, if I die in prison, or if I get struck by lightning, those are the three things that cannot. If any of those three things happen,
okay,
you have to.
So if you're shot by a police officer, I have to kill the police officer.
Well, however you see fit to do the vengeance. If you want to kill the police officer's family,
there.
Whatever, however you want to do it.
But what if I find out that it was Tattaglia? I have to arrange for his death.
Well,
right?
ultimately, whoever is responsible for the death.
Like Tattaglia, right?
No.
Like if my conciliary says, "Hey, it was definitely Tattaglia that shot Alex."
Well, not if you think it was Barzini all along. You can't say, well, Tattaglia would be easier to get to, and my conciliary, you have to do what you think is right, of course.
See, the problem is you're my conciliary, but you'd be dead, so you can't even counsel me. Barzini and Tattaglia, do I just take them out both?
Okay, well, how about this? Pretend that you uploaded my conciliary brain into a supercomputer.
Okay.
And even though now my physical body is dead, you can consult the intellect that still lives in the computer. And that computer says, avenge his death.
If you had to give that computer a voice other than yours, what would you want it to sound like? Would you want it to be like Tom Hagen's because it's conciliary?
No, I think I these days I feel like I favor more of a more robot, like a Cylon voice.
Oh,
like, well, you must have like that kind of thing, or even like a War Games type,
yeah,
kind of like warbly computer voice.
Early robotics.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay, all right, you got it.
So that you seem you're more worried about that than you are about the vengeance. What kind of computer?
Don't worry, I'll avenge your death. Don't worry. Right, okay. Just trust me, I'll get it done.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Well, speaking of avenging a loved one's death, I do have a question. So in the movie and in the book, Tattaglia is really nervous that Don Corleone he's really nervous that down the road, when Don Corleone's position becomes more strong, that he's going to carry out this personal vendetta. So we know that Don Corleone dies somewhat soon in the movie.
I think several years are supposed to pass, but
so the question is, given enough time and power consolidation, do you think Tattaglia was right to worry and that Don Corleone would not have let that go? He killed Sonny.
But I think once he said, I would forgo all acts of vengeance. I think that's it wouldn't surprise me if he told Mike, listen, I forwent all act of vengeance. That doesn't mean you have to as his brother. Like that. So
Mikey, you gotta start having more children. Connie, you too, because I just made this guarantee on the souls of my current grandchildren. They're condemned.
I'm sorry, they're going to hell. Nothing we can do about it.
It's a technicality. I can Hagen, my conciliary, consulted with me. He agrees. Legally, technically, it's only my current grandchildren.
Yeah, so that's what I think. That's how it would.
He's honoring his
He would
word.
stick to. He would stick to his word. Because if a man's not worth his word,
It makes
never
you
be a real man.
It makes you wonder what if Mikey had accidentally or not died in other ways that Don Corleone did not list. Would Don Corleone have thought that some of the people in that room were guilty of it? Like, what kinds of things? Like he got pancreatic cancer at a very young age. Very suspicious.
So, well, Tom, what do you think? I didn't list that, but I was talking in generalities.
Well, I think it's any consigliere worth his salt would have done a public statement saying these are the causes that are covered. So anything.
Oh, really? Legally, he would have to list all
You
of
have
them?
you have to publish it for 6 weeks in a newspaper.
In 3 newspapers.
Yeah. So it gives the public adequate time to be like,
So he has to publish that list. This is ridiculous. He has to publish that list
Yeah.
and then there's an open period for public comment during which time other
Yeah.
consiglieres, crime bosses could say, no, that's not, I don't want to be blamed for that. That clearly should not be on the list.
Listen, I just happen to manufacture anvils, but if one of them happens to fall on him, that you can't hold me responsible.
All right, I'll take out the anvils. And
the safes.
all right, just for the sake of finishing this meeting. All right.
They're still in that bank room for days.
All like unshaven, their ties are all.
All right, so including but not limited to safes, anvils, cement mixes, airplanes.
Barzini says, it turns out after all, we are lawyers. Don Zalucci's fists are all bloody because he keeps pounding on the table.
He can't even stand anymore. His consigliere has to like hold him up. It's like James Brown. He's all weak.
He's weak. He's weak.
Speaking of Don Zalucci, our old friend Don Corleone pulls a Zalucci in this when he stands up to make his point.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Zalucci was like, "The son of a bitch, he took my move."
Next thing I know, he's going to be pounding a desk.
Damn it! No one takes my move. Thump.
And he's going to be selling it to children.
Next time I power move, watch this. I'm going to sit on the floor, make them stand up to look over at me. What?
Next time, I'm a real power move. I'm gonna take the gun and leave the cannoli.
You got it wrong.
Rewrite the script, Don Zalucci.
Cut. So the Don pulls the Zalucci.
I want to bring this up because Barzini says, after all, we're not lawyers, right? So in previous minutes, we heard him make the joke, we're not communists, and that got a big laugh.
Yeah.
And this one, he said, we're not attorneys, no laughs.
Yeah.
And then
Wait, he says attorneys in the movie?
Yeah, he says we don't have to give assurances
Like we're
attorneys.
Okay, I thought he said lawyers, but yeah.
Oh, he may have said lawyer.
Okay,
He says lawyers. Yeah, you're
okay.
right.
Yeah.
And then in the book, one of the other Dons said,
Attorneys
after all,
is a totally different kind of like connotation. to
yeah.
it.
And then in the book, Puzo wrote that another one of the Dons said, after all, the drugs have to be controlled. After all, we're not anarchists.
Yeah.
And remember? So it got me to think of lawyers, communists, anarchists. I want you to rank those in the order in which you think they would get the most laughs from this group.
Well, I think almost no matter which one goes first, that's always going to get the laugh.
Oh, really?
I think in that context, I don't think. Although I don't know, yeah, because I think if you said anarchist first, it might get more of a laugh than later. Anarchist, I think, is the least funny one.
Yeah.
Although, wait, what is it? Anarchists,
Communists, and
lawyers.
lawyers. Yeah, I think you're right, because anarchists they were talking about business, about controlling drugs,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to...
They weren't talking about personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, an anarchist is too. Yeah, I wouldn't say anarchists. I don't think anarchists. So if you go anarchist first, that's the biggest laugh anarchist is going to get.
Yeah, but not much.
Because first of all, just the fact that someone said, "After all, we're not this."
Yeah.
Some people will be like, "Ha ha."
Yeah.
I think lawyers is the funniest line.
Although in this context, it would have been it was right after Tatalia says, "But I need assurances." So Barzini saying that is really a dig at Tatalia.
Yeah.
So it's not really brought up. And after all, we're not lawyers. It's not as funny.
Well, but I also think it's funny because they're actually criminals. So it's almost like how much respect do they have for lawyers, you know? So it's kind of that's what I think is funny about it, that they're criminals talking about how we're not lawyers. Like that would be even worse than being, you know, we'll deal drugs to children, but we're not lawyers. Come on, let's not.
You didn't see it on camera, but when Barzini said that, all the Dons turned around and gave a high five to their consigliere.
The ones who are, the ones who happen. So, do we say they're not all lawyers? They
Not
don't have to
sure.
necessarily be all lawyers.
Not sure.
It probably depends on the focus of the crime family. Like because the Corleones specialize in political protection and that stuff, them being familiar with laws would be a good specialty. You know,
That's great. And so like Barzini gets into Wall Street, so he's got a CFO, he's a financial advisor.
Yeah, the guy
financial
who
advisor. Get in the mutual funds, Emiliano.
the guy who controls the ports is all like he's like a sea captain guy. He's
Don Stracci.
He's got the Gordon's fisherman's hat on. And the rain. He's always wet. There he goes.
I told you to take out those galoshes before you came in. You're tracking water in the house.
What about Tatalia's consigliere?
Yeah,
a hotel connoisseur, hotel magnate,
or like a pimp, like a pimp guy with the feather hat and the feather in the hat and the big shoes and the
He's consulting consigliere. You got to bring the girls way down and then bring them back up, man.
And then what would be funny is that when Tatalia went and like talked to his consigliere, the consigliere would treat him like Tatalia was one of his bitches. I don't know what you. Oh, come on, Tatalia, you know I love you. You know you're my favorite.
I know, but I just need assurances from time to time.
Yeah, that's why he's all insecure.
He's so
it's his
insecure,
consigliere's made him that way.
He's totally gaslighting his boss.
It's great.
Let's see. So one thing I think was kind of interesting was when Don is making his implied passion speech about Michael coming home, and he's like,
I want to have him come home so we can be clear of these false charges.
Yeah, let's talk about that. No one flinches. Or
I know.
anything.
Well, it made me wonder if that's sort of the everyone has to come up with a pretense of like, well, we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because if they were to admit that he did it, then it would be kind of like, well, then you can't forego your vengeance because now everyone knows that this person, right now it's kind of vague. We don't know who killed him.
Yeah.
So
it gives everybody an out. It gives everyone a justification to go back to their families and say, hey, this is what's going to happen now, in case you have any hotheads who really want personal vendetta. It's so interesting.
Or does he think the room was being bugged?
I was wondering that
doesn't
too.
want to. I mean, he's like, Pop, you don't even want to admit it in front of a bunch of criminals.
Because remember, Hagen did not accept a letter from Kay. That could be proved in a court of law that I knew his whereabouts.
Thought Kay was wearing a wire at the time.
I don't think Hagen. I don't think they thought the room was being bugged,
right?
Because Puzo wrote in the book that the president of the bank himself owed Don Corleone.
Yeah,
that's why they gave him this room.
Yeah,
you never know though.
Yeah, could be like a housekeeper. Could be which is so funny to imagine, like the cops busting in and they get everyone except for Don Corleone. He's the only one who's like,
even among criminals, I'm not going to admit what.
The other alternative is he really believes that Michael is innocent.
Oh, whoa, that's true, because he was hospitalized when this whole thing went down.
Does he?
Oh no, he knows.
But does he not believe it?
Yeah, Hagen told him.
Right.
Because he says, where's Michael? Remember when he comes out of his coma? And Hagen tells him straight up.
Right, but then he's all like, gets all sad, like shakes his head like, no.
I don't believe you. I think about it. That's not Mikey. Mikey wouldn't do that. Go up to some guy in his Ivy League suit and he'll pop right in his head. Boom. Hagen, he's taking it very personally. It's just business.
He go right up to him and he go.
He gets out of the bed. He does the whole Sunny routine.
Will you just please consider this, Pop? That if it wasn't Mikey,
Replay the whole thing. I think Don Corleone would say,
oh no, it couldn't have been Mikey. It was Barzini all along.
Yeah, I think that's what.
we may need to shift our cheering, our crowd cheering to that line. I feel like we're getting a lot of mileage out of it.
Yeah, you know, speaking of which, we haven't done the countdown in a while.
Let's do the countdown right now. Awesome.
Well, it's coming up.
It's coming up. We don't even have that many more minutes left in the movie.
I was actually looking. We're
what is it? 8 minutes?
8 minutes left of the whole movie?
I think so. 8 minutes left. Maybe?
Well, we are
It's more
almost.
in
I
there.
think is the next scene Fredo
I think it is.
well, I guess in the car.
Yeah.
Isn't this the next scene?
I think it's the next scene.
Fredo, or is it Kay? I hope it's Fredo.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. It's not 8 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's maybe about 20, 25 minutes left.
Really? Is it really that far?
It's maybe 20 minutes. Yeah.
Really?
I seem to remember seeing 150 something.
Okay. All right.
Back to this minute, Alex. I have a few questions for you. Mm-hmm. So in this minute, Don Corleone says, I'm a superstitious man. So if my son should be shot in the head by a police officer, hang himself in his jail cell, or struck by a bolt of lightning, I'm going to blame some of the people in this room. Remember that?
Yeah, we just talked about it.
So who, for each of the, if those had happened,
Yeah.
obviously not all of them, that would have been overkill. But who would he have blamed for each of those?
If
So let's start with shot in the head by a police officer. Which Don would have pulled that off?
Well, I guess the inclination is to think Tatalia because he was working with McCluskey.
Yeah.
So, so that we be Tatalia's thing.
Yeah. Although, who's the one who had tried to have Don assassinated? It was Sollozzo.
Yeah.
But wasn't it Barzini who was... No, I guess it was Tatalia, right?
Well, it was Barzini all along.
How about the hang himself in his jail cell?
Oh, that's a tough one because... So going back to the last one, which is the bolt of lightning, I think that's got to be the Seaport Don.
Oh,
Because he has, he has he has knows weather gods and stuff,
Yeah,
like Poseidon.
I can see him calling on the god of Poseidon, call down the lightning. Like He-Man.
So who's the other one? Though?
Hang himself in jail. So
Yeah.
the only one I can think of is Tatalia, because remember he runs all of the nightclubs and pimp houses with brothels. Remember he has all the sheets, the folding bills, laundry bills. So he's got a lot of sheets. Access to a lot of sheets.
Okay. Oh, that's right. So you would tie them
Yeah.
together into okay.
Oh yeah, because Puzo wrote that Tatalia has the lucrative contracts.
So it sounds like Tatalia is basically like lightning is the only thing that gets that's literally an act of God.
Yeah.
Well, so actually, just out of curiosity, I asked myself, what are those three things between being shot by a trigger happy policeman, dying in jail,
Yeah.
or struck by lightning. I have some statistics for you.
Oh, awesome.
The odds of getting struck by lightning are 1 in 70,000.
Wow, that's
1 in
not very.
70,000.
Those are better odds than I thought.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, better to get hit.
Sorry, those are the odds of being killed by lightning.
That's even worse.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So more-
getting hit is even.
Well, but of the people who are struck by lightning, only 9 to 10% chance. You have 9 to 10% chance of dying after you're struck by lightning.
Okay.
So by that logic,
10
that's only 9 to 10% of the people who are struck by lightning.
So
which means
1 in 7,000.
1 in 7,000,
Oh
getting
my
struck by
gosh.
lightning. But also your regional
Oh, yeah.
things vary.
Yeah.
Kenya has the most people struck by lightning.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a very flat country, and a lot of people have metal roofs.
Oh my gosh.
So,
yeah.
so there you go.
Wow. How about getting shot in the head by a police officer? They don't have statistics. You can't print that. You don't have statistics.
Well, in 2018, 1,143 Americans were killed by policemen.
Oh man.
23% of those are African American, despite the fact that they only make up 13% of the population.
How many were? Okay, got it.
Overall, in the overall population, the odds of this should be right. The odds of being shot by a police officer for men are 1 in 2,000, and women it's 1 in 33,000.
Well, what was it? Maybe.
Seems some alarming.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
those
that is
are
accurate.
1 in 2,000. That seems.
Because then that's just for men in general.
That
If you're a
can't
black
be.
man, it's 1 in 1,000.
That can't be. Oh, maybe. Who knows?
Like I'm thinking, well, that would be 1,000 people.
Yeah, out of 1,000 people, one gets shot by a police officer. That's crazy. The city of Portland has, I don't know, 700,000, 800,000 people. That would mean 400 people in the city have been shot by police officers. Maybe, huh?
And also, it's probably higher
yeah.
in some areas and
Yeah,
lower in some
exactly,
areas.
yeah.
So,
Oh, interesting. How about?
prison suicides.
Okay.
I didn't have any overall statistics, but 1/3 of you're much more likely to commit suicide in prison. 1/3 of all the suicides in prison happen the first week someone is in
wow.
prison. Most of the suicides are pretrial detainees, so they're not even they haven't even
Yeah.
been sentenced yet. They're just so
Yeah.
that's pretty.
That's rough.
Yeah. So there you go. So some grim statistics. The Dons might be right to. So which one? If you had, so I guess if you were going to do one of those,
You mean be the victim of one, or or try to take out.
No, like if let's just say Don Barzini's like, well, if Mikey has to get killed, which one do you think would be the best? Would be the
to try to get away with?
Yeah, to try to get away with it.
Well, I guess the lightning bolt, because it'd be hard to trace back to me. Go talk to the Don of the ports. He's the one.
And also, I guess
he's the one who's got the god Poseidon in his pocket.
I guess also that, as we pointed out, that that Mikey was already struck by a thunderbolt. That's why it's so funny that he uses that specific example.
Yeah.
So maybe the Don killed because he doesn't like her. He doesn't like Mikey getting struck with thunderbolt.
Trust me, if he were struck by a lightning bolt and killed, I'd buy it. But he was already struck by one, so the odds of him getting struck twice are too great.
Statistically, it just can't happen.
If it happened this year, I'd be suspicious. But maybe 5-10 years from now, I'd be more likely. Well, buddy papers.
Yeah, well, buddy system.
Well, I have some things from the book, Alex.
Oh, yeah? What you got for me? What does Mario Puzo got for me?
Some interesting differences. Let me point them out.
You're always pointing out differences.
So at the beginning of this minute, if you remember, Barzini says, after all, we're not lawyers. Mm-hmm. And then the Don starts to give sort of a speech, right? In the book,
he starts monologuing.
He starts doing, monologuing. In the book, it's a very long speech.
Wow.
I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it's much more significant in the book. But let me read some of it.
Well, can I ask you for a production favor?
Sure.
Don't read the whole thing. Just read like one sentence in the beginning, one sentence in the middle, and one sentence in the end. But then cut it together and fade it in between, so it makes it sound like you're going on for a really long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do all Don Corleone's voice. Well, I have notes in the book to stop, pause, and ask questions.
Okay, good.
And for commentary.
Okay.
So Puzo writes, it was then that Don Corleone gave the speech that would be long remembered, and that reaffirmed his position as the most far-seeing statesman among them.
Wow.
So full of common sense, so direct from the heart and to the heart of the matter. In it, he coined a phrase that was to become as famous in its way as Churchill's Iron Curtain.
I'm going to make him an offer I can't refuse. The funny papers.
For your father.
As famous as Churchill's Iron Curtain, though not public knowledge until more than 10 years later.
They had the record sealed.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. I don't know yet what that means 10 years from now, when
I guess
maybe it is being tapped and the FBI doesn't release the transcript for 10 years.
Well, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 10 years from then, one of the Don I guess all the Dons get killed. Maybe Don Felucci, he survives. So maybe he's just like, you should have been at this meeting.
Yeah.
And then he told the story and it caught on. So he's like, I'm going to tell everyone that. I'm telling everyone that story from now on.
Now that's the power move.
Yeah.
Sure. He told it in first person as if he had told it, but no one bought it. Those are your words.
Yeah. So that's why I think it took 10 years for the legend to get out.
Yeah. So Puzo,
I bet it was just a Corleone family PR stunt. They got little guys on the payroll.
Yeah.
You could have,
Well, then maybe they're like the royal family. After a few years, they're really just like a tourist attraction. They're not even in the mob business anymore, but they have all these people coming to visit them, so they wanted to pump up the legacy.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Puzo writes that you want to guess how old Don Corleone is?
Don Corleone?
That's right.
So this is roughly 1948, 1947, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget he was born in 1790.
Oh boy. I'm going to say 10 minutes left.
He was short and a little thin from his illness. Perhaps his 60 years showed a bit more, but there was no question that he had regained all his former strength and had all his wits. 60.
60.
Yeah. Okay, here's one part of the speech. Puzo writes,
and so I say, I give my honor that I will never seek vengeance. I will never seek knowledge of the deeds that have been done in the past. I will leave here with a pure heart.
And then a little bit more.
We have been fortunate here in this country. Already most of our children have found a better life. Some of you have sons who are professors, scientists, musicians, and you are fortunate. Perhaps your grandchildren will become the new Pezzanovanti.
Ding!
None of us here
But
want...
that's the phrase that he...
No, it's a little... I mean, maybe. I'm not sure.
Or as I say, Pezzofazante literally means 95.
None of us here want to see our children follow in our footsteps. It's too hard a life.
So I do think it's great how he points out, he's usually criticizing the Pezzanovanti, but here he reveals we really want our children to be the one pulling the strings.
Oh yeah. I don't think his issue was ever that the system was wrong, just that he wanted to be one of the ones at the top of the system, because there's always someone at the top of the system. Like you're not going to get away from that. So it might as well be you.
I hope my grandchildren become Pezzanovanti, not the ones who lost their souls because they carried out the vendetta, because they're gone.
And not the ones who lost their souls because they're dog people.
Yeah.
Puzo writes, I have grandchildren now, and I hope their children may someday, who knows, be a governor, a president. Nothing's impossible here in America.
So I do think Coppola took bits of this and put it in Don Corleone's speech later to Michael in the garden.
Right, you use that.
Yeah.
Is that scene? I guess we are up there in the book, but does that scene take place in the book? That scene of them in the garden together.
I believe so, but I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. Skipping ahead, Puzo writes, I think this is getting to the part that's memorable.
So hold on a second.
Yeah.
So he says maybe your grandchildren will be governor,
Or president.
or your grandchildren, or your great grandchildren.
Grandchildren.
But then doesn't he say, and then maybe their grandchildren will be? I thought he says your grandchildren will be.
I have grandchildren now.
Perhaps your grandchildren will become the new Pezzanovanti. Mm-hmm. I have grandchildren now, and I hope their children may someday, who knows, be a governor or president.
So their children. So it's his great grandchildren.
Yeah, so he's recognizing that it takes a few generations.
But so later on when he's like, you come Senator Corleone, Governor Corleone, did that mean that prior to Mikey throwing away his life by killing Sollozzo, that he was like, oh, Mikey's going to be the governor, but now that he kind of almost like set it back 3 generations by doing it.
Mikey, we gotta wait till 2087 now. Because remember, we lost
screwed up all my arrangements.
Because remember, Don Corleone's grandchildren's souls, that's a whole nother lost generation. So that's even later.
Well, maybe that's why he says my grandchildren's children will be the one to be president, because he knows up until then they're all damned.
So Puzo writes,
and that's actually funny because at least his granddaughter Mary Corleone does get shot. And killed. So it is. He did swear on the lives of his grandchildren, and at least one of them died a violent death. So
nice GF3 reference. Excellent. Maybe. Wait a minute, is Joey Zaza one of his grandsons? Because he gets shot too.
Son of Zaza.
Son of Zaza.
He's like Papa Zaza.
Papa Zaza. It's like a pizzeria chain. Yeah, I too am fond of entrepreneurial ventures.
It's pretty good. It's a good job.
Papa Zaza.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Puzo writes,
Who is to say we should obey the laws that Pezzanovanti make for their own interest and to our hurt? And who are they then to meddle when we look after our own interests? Sona cosa nostra.
Sona cosa nostra.
Say it again. Sona cosa nostra.
Don Corleone said,
These are our affairs. We will manage our world for ourselves because it is our world. Cosa nostra. And so we have to stick together to guard against outside meddlers.
So I think this is where
I think that's
the term.
Wow.
Puzo reference, that it would be coining a phrase.
Our thing.
Yeah, our thing. Goes on
Or this thing of ours.
Yeah.
The way you read, maybe it was just the way you read it, but it almost seemed like this should have been in the movie of him being like, and today I vow that I will never let one of those Passover Sunday. Dun, dun, dun.
And then a lightning bolt comes down and kills Mikey.
Oh.
No.
So wait, what's the last thing he says on the thing? That I thought it was kind of
Well, it's still a whole nother page.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he keeps going.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was the end of it. What was the last line?
Well, I think that's I'm really just taking excerpts. I think that was the
best. This is the abridged version.
And then he gets into more practical matters later. He says, "Okay, this is fun." And so, if some unlucky accident should befall my younger son, if some police officer should accidentally shoot him, if he should hang himself in his cell, if new witnesses appear to testify to his guilt.
Oh, I like these new, previously unreleased vendetta points.
Yeah. He's got some more. If his plane should fall into the sea, or his ship sink beneath the waves of the ocean.
I'm looking at you, Don Stracci.
Arr, we're busted.
If he should overdose on those candy buttons, that's you, Cuneo. Keep an eye on Cuneo.
If someone should sell him heroin within 50 yards of a school.
Tom Zalucci was just about to pound the table and he cowered away.
Or is this, so this is like the Declaration of Independence where every Tom is like, well, put in a line about this thing, you know. Make sure you mention how great Missouri is.
Well, we already spent 3.5 days going over the... So I'm not kidding. Don Corleone really is still going on in the book. I'm not making
I believe
these up.
it.
So if his plane should fall into the sea or his ship should sink beneath the waves of the ocean, if he should catch a mortal fever.
Wait, a mortal fever or immortal fever?
A mortal fever. So we're going to have to go back over and who would be most likely to do all these. And that if his automobile should be struck by a train.
A train? Wow.
I wonder if these are all ways that they've used in the past. And that's why he's listing them.
It should be like a medley, like what do they call it? Montage of all these things happening to people.
This in the Broadway musical, this would have to make its way into.
Well, if you remember, this is actually filmed in the boardroom of the train company. There's train murals and stuff on the wall. So he's like, if he should get hit by a train, or if a drinking glass falls on glass,
looking around the room because it's a bank.
If
he should look at his mutual fund statement and be surprised the shot die a shock. Okay, let's see. That's it. Such is my superstition that I would blame the ill will felt by people here. Gentlemen, that ill will, that bad luck I could never forgive. I'm looking at you, Cuneo. He keeps going.
Cuneo.
Cuneo.
So there you go.
I think that's all I got, Alex.
That's all I have as well.
Yeah.
Well, we still got to do. We still got to rate this thing.
We got to rate it.
It's tough. It's pretty much just a monologue.
Man, it's just a monologue.
It's just a monologue.
Cut out a bunch of stuff from the book.
It's just a monologue.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready.
All right. I am too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off goes the weasel.
Cuneo. Awesome. This may be our longest streak of 5s, Alex.
Well, you got Brando back in action and speechifying. It's gonna be
the body language. We didn't even talk about the filming, the acting, the body language, the delivery, the looks, the straightening of the tie, the motion to Hagen behind him.
The Tatalia looking looking at Don as he's talking. Great stuff.
Brilliant. What do we have for the bonus content coming up, Alex?
Well, we had a topic from last week that we were going to do. How would Siri or Alexa be used in the Godfather universe? So we'll check that out. And plus, we have our usual things. We have our new two 2 points to bring up. We have our new, every week we do headlines, newspaper headlines. We do like D&D stats for characters. We do
Broadway musical bits,
what their
Beatles
horoscope
songs.
would be, what Beatles song. And so our latest one is we do a item of merchandise inspired by the minute. So that's another thing that we're going to be adding to the regular rotation.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of merchandise, by now I will have uploaded. We talked about it last week, and one of the rare times I followed through and actually did a Scarface parody featuring Ryman Roth. So if you go to
Scarface Roth.
Yeah, if you go to
Is it on the Fredo Corleone's Mickey Mouse nightclub?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely put a link there. Well, we'll put it on Twitter and at Godfather Minute and share it around. So
I've seen it preview. I think it is a masterpiece. It's phenomenal.
Merchandise is the most important thing.
Made a killing running merchandise out of the internet.
The great thing was
Running it out of the internet.
I got to watch the Hyman Roth scenes many times because I was while I was drawing it. So anyway, so you can check that out. And we're gonna do the bonus content. So until then,
I'm a superstitious man and will forgo all acts of vengeance.